Well, hey friends, we're diving in again. We're just trying to figure out how to have that wreck the roof heart. So we're in the series study, and we're just going to dive in today with the question, how in the world did Jesus sustain a heart that was just always trying to help people that were far from God get to his feet? How did he do it? Why do I say that? Because what we know is in Hebrews 2, it says it like this. It says about Jesus that he had to be made like us in every single way. And so if you read the Gospels, you'll see so many times when he's just tired, where he's overwhelmed. We know that he has real emotions. We know that he's really exhausted. I think about it when he's crossing over, on the other side of the Sea of Galilee, and everybody else is rowing. He's just exhausted, man. He's just down in the middle of the boat. The question is, how does he just not get so exhausted? How does he not get overwhelmed with emotions? What is it that fueled Jesus? So today I just want to dive into one of my favorite passages. I have a lot of favorites, but it's right there in Mark chapter 1, verse 35, and it just says this. It says, very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up and he left the house and he went off to a solitary place where he prayed. Simon and his companions, after they woke up, it's probably pretty late, went out to look for him. And when they found him, they exclaimed, Jesus, everyone is looking for you. And Jesus just replied to them, let's go somewhere else to the nearby villages so I can preach there also. That's why I've come. So I just want to remind you that if we lean back into the story right before this, it was after sunset that night that everybody was bringing their sick to him and all the demon-possessed to him. And the place was packed and there were people everywhere. And so how in the world does a Jesus who is just pouring out his life and just healing people and just loving people and taking care of sickness, how is it that that's an after dark kind of thing that's stretching into the long late night hours? You know, if you've ever had people over your house, they don't leave when you want them to leave. And so all of a sudden it's stretching the early hours. And yet then the next morning it says he leaves the house while it's still dark. What that means is, I'm not sure he even went to bed, but something inside of him, I really believe this, something inside of him just said, man, look, I'm overwhelmed. I'm tired. My life and ministry is starting to be, it's a good thing, like healing people, delivering people, that's a good thing. But I wonder if after everybody left, he didn't recognize his exhaustion and his emotions and the fact that maybe his ministry direction was starting to head in a way that he's doing a lot of good stuff, but maybe not the right stuff. And it's right in that moment he just says, and this is like a go-to move for Jesus. He was like, I've got to get away with my Father, man. Like, I've got to go pray. You know, Luke 5:16 says it like this. It says that Jesus often withdrew to the solitary places and he prayed. As a matter of fact, what we know in Scripture, that there were at least 4 overnight prayers of Jesus. One of the first ones was right here in Mark chapter 1, where it kind of feels like, you know what, there's a lot going on and he's doing a lot of good things. But I think Jesus is starting to recognize that I'm spending my emotion and my energies towards maybe not the thing that I was made for. Like, I came here to preach. I came here to bring the gospel to mankind. Healing is great, but it's like 1 degree off from that thing that really God is calling me to do. So what did Jesus do in that moment? He got away and he got before his Father and he just prayed. There's another time when he's facing some important choices. And it just felt like, if you remember the scene when the people were trying to make him king, they had just lost their leader. John the Baptist had lost his head, and the people were out on the hillside, and they were like, okay, now's the time for Jesus to be king. And now we want to do this now. And they came to him and they literally tried to force him to be king. And Jesus recognized he is king, but he's not going to get crowned like this. He's going to go to the cross before he sits at the right hand of the Father. And he starts recognizing, maybe you can relate, that yeah, there's some good things that are happening, but this just feels like the wrong time, and this just feels like it's in the wrong way. And so immediately, I love the way it says in Matthew 14, it says, immediately Jesus made the disciples get in the boat and go on ahead of him. He was like, I don't want anybody else around. He's like, no, get in the boat. You need to get out of here. I need some time. It says he dismissed the crowd. Verse 23, after he dismissed them, he just went up on the mountainside by himself and he prayed, go-to move. when he was crowded and drained and he was kind of exhausted, and it was time to choose the 12, and he knew it was time to not just spend time with the masses, but he really wanted to pour his life into the few so they could do what it is that he does. And all of a sudden he's like, but who do I pick? And I really think that he wondered, who do I pick? But what we find in Luke 6:12 says, one of those days Jesus went up on the mountainside to pray, and he spent that night praying to God. And all I know is after he went and spent some time with his father, he came down and he knew who to invest his life. They never have that problem, that question. You're like, I don't even know. There's a lot of people around. I don't even know who to invest in. Who do I pour into? Who do I spend my time with? Jesus' go-to move? Let me go pray, man. Let me go spend time with the Father. And he came back with such clarity. And then in the garden, you know this one in Luke 22, when the pressure just felt like too much and he knew that he was going to lay his life down on the cross. He knew for the joy set before him, he knew it was on the other side of the grave, but he also knew this cross moment is going to be a lot. Some of you have been in seasons where it is just so much and you're trying to get people to Jesus, but you have your own stuff going on, man. In Luke 22, it says he withdrew about a stone's throw beyond him. He's like, man, I need to just get alone. He knelt down, he prayed. He knew there was a place of power in the presence of God. And he just said, God, here's my heart. I love that we get to hear that prayer in John 17. Here's my heart, and here's what's going on, and here's what I need. And so why do I say that today? Because if we're ever going to have a wreck the roof kind of life, where we really invest and pour out our lives to get people to the feet of Jesus, it's gonna be draining, it's gonna be exhausting. There are gonna be moments when you're not sure who to pour into and you're not sure who to pick. There's gonna be times when you feel like there's a weight in your life and you just gotta turn it all off for a while. There's gonna be so many moments where you're like, are we doing the right thing, God? Like, we made this decision, but I'm not, like, it's good, but is it the main thing that we're supposed to do? And I'm just telling you, those are the moments when we have to just do what Jesus did and just lean in and just get on our knees and spend some time when nobody else around. And you ever feel like you're always moving, but life's going nowhere? You ever feel like, yeah, I'm trying to help other people get to Jesus, but I'm dealing with my own loss and hurt? You ever feel like success and busyness is running your life? You're like, I would do this, but I've got so many plates that I'm spinning. I don't have time to do this. Anybody have any dangerous addictions in your own situations that you're really needing some freedom from, or facing overwhelming depression? Maybe you're concerned about the people you love and you're like, God, I don't know why this isn't moving the way I thought it was gonna move. Maybe something's off in your family or work relationships. And here's the thing. What I've learned is that in those moments when I just can't make myself busy to hide or avoid the pain, or I can't just like sometimes you can muster up the strength, sometimes you're just exhausted, man. Sometimes in those moments, I just need to go to him, man, just by myself and on my knees, just pour out my own heart and to lean into his dependency and say, God, I don't know what to do, and I've been wrong, and I need you, and I don't know how this is gonna happen, and pray. I love Acts 1:14. It says they all met together constantly in prayer. Acts 2:42 says they devoted themselves to prayer. 1 Thessalonians 5:17 says that they would pray without ceasing. And so when I hear that and I look at Jesus' life, then I just started to recognize that if Matt Reagan is gonna have a wreck the roof kind of life, then I've gotta figure out how to pray. And so when I figured that out, I just gotta be honest, I started realizing that I gotta pray before, I gotta pray in the middle, and I gotta pray after. And you're like, what are you talking about? That's what praying without ceasing looks like. It means that before I go into the gym, before I sit down on a plane, before I hop into the stands at a football or soccer stands or cheerleading, I'm a cheer dad, or if I'm getting ready to go into a family gathering, I know there's gonna be a lot of dynamics in there. Anytime there is a place where there are people that are far from Jesus, before I step in the room, I say, Jesus, I need you right now, man. I need you. I need your power. I am not okay with these people that I interact with every day not knowing you. But I need you. I don't know how to do this. And then you just hop in, right? And when you pray before, I'm telling you, you start praying before those moments and you start running into these unbelievable moments where people just come out of the woodwork and start having these conversations with you. It happens to me in the gym all the time. People come up and they're like, hey, so tell me about your life, or tell me what's going on, or why are you so different? And they don't even know I'm a pastor. Like, that's not the past. And they just family members. I'm just telling you, when I pray before, something dynamic happens. But it's not just before, it's in the middle, because then they come up and they start asking me questions and I gotta be honest, I don't know what to say. Like, one of the reasons we don't open our mouths a lot of times is because we don't know what to say. We're afraid that they're gonna ask all these questions. I used to think that you had to know all the answers and what to say. What I've come to find out is that a lot of people just need you to say, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. What do you think? Or what do you, but I just pray in the middle, Jesus, what do you want me to say right now? What do you want me to notice about these people right now? What can I encourage them with? What can I tell them about them that I see, that I can know about you that you see? Sometimes I look at people and I just say, man, I just got to tell you, I just feel like you're such an encouraging person, or man, you have so much inside of you. Or I love the way that I just say, God, show me the things that I know that you see about them. And I just start to speak those things into their life. But then I don't just pray before and pray in the middle. I pray when I'm walking away. And again, when I'm on my game, and I don't do this all the time, but I'm saying if I'm going to have a heart like this, I want to do this all the time. But I pray walking away, and I just say, Lord, hey, what did I miss? Like, what did I miss? Or where did I try to jump in, or where did that kind of tweak my pride, or where did I try to like have all the right answers? And I could just see on their face like, oh, you're one of those dudes. How or even say, or God, how can I help? Or how can I be more aware? What is it you're asking me to do with this person? But I'm just telling you, Jesus go to move, family. If we're ever gonna have a wreck the roof kind of heart, go to move is to pray. To make prayer over people before you see people, in the middle of when you're with people, when you walk away from people, is to talk to your Father about it. And I just want to encourage you, if you are not spending time on your knees away from the crowd, talking to Him about the people that you know are far from Him, you're not gonna see the kind of fruit, the same as you will when you get on your knees and just say, God, I need you. Pray. Pray, pray. I know you want to have a wreck the roof kind of heart. Starts with prayer.